Okay, folks, we are back. We are going to do a product discussion today. My friend Caitlin sent me some sort of what you youngsters watch, a TikTok video of some influencer who discusses cosmetics. And in this video, she was talking about who was the Hollywood actor that she mentioned? Louis Gossett Jr., who I believe was in the movie Officer and a Gentleman. Excellent movie. Highly recommend it. He was in an acting class in the 50s with Marilyn Monroe, and he said that she smelled like a specific soap that is no longer sold in the U.S. called Lifebuoy soap, but they pronounce it Lifebuoy soap. It was known for its red packaging, and it is a red bar of soap. And it had a very antiseptic smell, so I kind of dug deep for all you folks to talk about it. So the Lifebuoy soap was a British brand of soap that dates back to 1895, made by the Unilever Corporation. It is famous for being a carbolic soap, a phenyl carbolic acid soap, which is a mild antiseptic soap. And unfortunately, it stopped being sold in the U.S. in 2006, but that's irrelevant because they stopped putting the carbolic acid base in the soap in 1976. So the soap that you bought after 76 in the U.S. wasn't even what the soap that Marilyn Monroe or anybody in the past would have used. It became really popular in the 30s and all the way up until about 1951. It was one of the number one selling soaps in the U.S., and then American soap manufacturers started pushing scented soaps, and the carbolic medicinal smell kind of fell out of favor. So then you have to find what this TikToker said was what everybody online said was the closest to the original Lifebuoy soap. It is still made for other markets in Europe, but it is still not a carbolic soap. Interestingly, carbolic acid was discovered by a German chemist in 1834 named Friedlieb Ferdinand Runge. What a name. So we have here a soap that my friend was gracious enough to order on Amazon. $7 for one bar. So we're going to open it here. Carbolic soap, 4.4 ounces. And this is what was featured in the TikTok video. Oof. It tingles the nostrils. Even just opening it from the packaging, it's not a good smell. Blue Power Carbolic Soap. And it's got the little antiseptic symbol on there. Product of Jamaica. Kingston. Blue Power Group. Okay, so this is disappointing. Here's the ingredient list. So right off the bat, I feel like I've been deceived because they call it a carbolic soap. Sodium palmate, sodium palm kernelate, water, calcium carbonate, glycerin, cressylic acid? Maybe that's what they're referring to as the carbolic acid. I would have thought it would have said phenyl, but the antiseptic, it is a tar coal based, it's a petroleum-based antiseptic is what I'm getting at here. So I wish this was smell-o-vision because we're opening the soap.
It smells like A&D, doesn't it?
It smells like a chemical, right?
Uh-huh. It smells like a mixture of Vicks Vapor Rub and A&D.
Yeah, and I'm going to stop the tape now, and I'm going to wash my hands with it, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss it, and I'll splice it together in iMovie, so bear with me. Okay, it does kind of have that, and again, I researched the acid. It is a petroleum-based product, and I've washed my hands with it. It almost has like kind of a Bon Ami or like Comet or Ajax smell, like that one cleansing powder that you use to scrub out the sink or the bathtub. It is very harsh, right? So I could see why this soap fell out of favor when scented soaps started becoming more prevalent. But think about when this soap was super popular, right? Starting in the 1920s, going all the way to post-war US, my wife's grandfather was born in 1929. My grandfather was born in 1934. They didn't have indoor plumbing. They grew up on farms in Iowa and in Oklahoma, and they had 7 kids. And I could remember my grandfather talking about how like they'd have like 4 kids sleeping in one bed, and their mother would get a pail of water, and basically before they got into bed, they would just have to wash their feet off so they wouldn't dirty the sheets, because they didn't have running water. They'd have to go to a well or a hand pump outside at the well, which was more common back then. So you're coming from a time, and I remember my grandfather growing up in the Depression times in rural Iowa. He was like incredibly OCD about hygiene, having lived in a time where you didn't have maybe indoor plumbing, you had a outhouse, and this is in like the 30s and the 20s, right? So not that long ago. And then you see people starting to leave the country and moving into more metropolitan areas, and in the post-war, you get the baby boom and there's mass housing tracts. Everybody's embracing plumbing and hygiene, and this has a very hospital type of scent. But it's not a pleasant scent. It is not something that, I don't know, I might have to bathe my whole body with this. I just wash my hands, and it does linger, but it's not a good smell. It tingles the nostrils, right? You saw when I first opened the package. It's just, I can see why it was popular when it was, because I feel like the US at the time was making a transition where hygiene was becoming super important, right? Not everybody was able to shower once a day. You might have had like a weekly bath, and you wanted to smell super clean. Maybe this kind of symbolized cleanliness, and they let everybody around you know. But I could see why Louis Gossett Jr., according to that other TikToker video, I could see why he made that comment that Marilyn had a smell, because like it is very pungent, and it is not something that I would want to bathe with. Now, growing up, my soap of family choice was Caress. It's an orange bar, and now I like, I think my wife buys Dove. Another one that I like is the Castile soap, but that's pricey, and and even the bar of that, it breaks down and becomes like mushy. So there you go, folks. Soap talk. Another soap that I would like to review, and I might have to have Caitlin pick this up, is this. I saw this video, and I'll send it to you. I don't even know if you could get it now. Rest in peace, Palestine. There was a famous soap that was made in Palestine by the Palestinians. And I was at a customer's house a couple of years ago, and they had a bar of it. And it's an olive oil-based soap. So that might be the next soap. I never thought I would be talking about soap here on the channel, but here we are. Fascinating stuff, folks. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Bye.